A single meeting, 12 words, and now Britain's government is collapsing in real time. This is the story of how Prime Minister Keir Starmer just committed political suicide, and why King Charles might have orchestrated the whole thing. 3 days ago, something unprecedented happened at Windsor Castle. King Charles held a secret 2-hour meeting with Nigel Farage and Reform UK leaders. Not a photo op, not ceremony, strategy. If you want to see how one conversation can destroy a government, hit subscribe now because this gets darker by the minute. The meeting was about Reform UK's new policy paper, Restoring Britain's Democratic Foundation. It warned about parliamentary overreach and institutional erosion. Charles was reportedly fascinated by every page. Sources inside Buckingham Palace confirmed the king personally arranged this meeting. What sparked his interest? The document's warning about unchecked power and Britain's eroding democratic traditions. For a monarch who's spent decades worrying about constitutional stability, these words struck deep. During those 2 hours in the king's private study, Charles allegedly said something that would change everything. Perhaps it's time for fresh thinking in Westminster. The current path seems unsustainable. 12 words that are now toppling a government. But here's where it gets interesting. The meeting was supposed to stay buried in royal secrecy. Constitutional protocol demands complete silence when political topics arise. The crown must remain above partisan warfare. Yet within 48 hours, the story exploded across every major outlet. The Times broke it first with surgical precision. Then the avalanche began. BBC, Sky News, Guardian, Daily Mail. What should have stayed locked inside Windsor Castle suddenly dominated every front page in Britain. Here's the twist that changes everything. The leak didn't come from Reform UK. They had every reason to keep it secret. Royal endorsements aren't supposed to exist. Palace sources quietly suggest the leak originated from inside Downing Street itself. Labour MPs so furious with Starmer's leadership that they were willing to embarrass their own Prime Minister by showing the king in dialogue with his political rivals. If that was their plan to wound Starmer, it backfired spectacularly. When Starmer discovered the full details of Charles's meeting, witnesses say he completely lost control. At an emergency cabinet meeting yesterday morning, he was pacing the room like a caged animal, shouting at ministers, slamming papers onto the mahogany table. Deputy Prime Minister Angela Rayner later described him as a man possessed. Education. Secretary Bridget Phillipson told colleagues she'd never seen the Prime Minister so unhinged. Then came the moment that may end his career forever. According to multiple cabinet sources, Starmer smashed his fist on the table and shouted, "If Charles wants to play politics, I'll show him how the game is really played. The monarchy serves Parliament, not the other way around. He's forgotten his place." Gasps filled the room, but Starmer wasn't finished. 300 years of constitutional tradition. That's just old men in fancy clothes playing dress-up. This is 2025, not 1725. If he wants a fight, he's got one. The room went dead silent. No Prime Minister in living memory. Not through the constitutional battles of the 20th century, not during the worst political crises, has spoken about the monarch with such direct, personal contempt. In Britain's unwritten constitution, the crown is sacred territory. To cross that line isn't just political suicide, it's constitutional vandalism. Within hours, every word leaked. Ministers whispered to journalists in Westminster corridors. Civil servants texted friends in the press gallery. By evening, the story was everywhere. But the real devastation wasn't in the broadsheets. It was on social media. Within 6 hours, #DefendTheCrown was trending #1 worldwide. TikTok exploded with monarchist fury. Twitter became a battlefield of constitutional outrage. Memes flooded every platform. Starmer dressed as Oliver Cromwell, Starmer under a guillotine, Starmer tearing up the Union Jack. Conservative accounts dug up clips of his old speeches, captioning them. This is what happens when Republicans take power. The internet tore into him with surgical precision. And it wasn't just Conservative voters. Traditional Labour supporters were horrified too. Then came the voice that broke the internet. Margaret Thompson, a 68-year-old retired teacher from Liverpool, posted a TikTok that went mega viral. Looking straight into the camera with tears in her eyes, she said, "I supported Labour through Thatcher. I supported Labour through Blair. I've voted Labour for 45 years. But attacking our king, that's not the Labour Party I know. That's not Britain." 2.3 million views in 24 hours. Her pain was Britain's pain. The numbers that followed were catastrophic. A YouGov emergency poll conducted just 18 hours after the story broke showed 73% of Britons believe Starmer went too far. Labour's approval rating crashed from 42% to 28% overnight. the biggest single-day collapse in modern polling history. In traditional Labour heartlands like Liverpool, Newcastle and Manchester, support cratered by double digits. 68% of voters said they'd lost confidence in Starmer's judgment. Nearly half of Labour's previous voters admitted they were reconsidering their support entirely. This isn't a polling dip. This isn't statistical noise. This is political annihilation. The kind that rewrites electoral maps and destroys careers forever. And through it all, King Charles has said absolutely nothing. Constitutional experts are already calling it the smartest strategic move of his reign. Professor Sarah Matthews of Oxford University explains, the monarchy survives by staying above politics. If Charles were to respond, he risks dragging the crown into partisan warfare. By saying nothing, he leaves Starmer twisting in the wind. Every hour the king remains silent, public outrage grows louder. Every day without a royal response makes Starmer's fury look more unhinged. The crown appears dignified, wounded, but noble. Starmer appears reckless, unfit, dangerous. Palace insiders whisper that Charles isn't just being strategic. He's personally wounded. One senior courtier describes him as deeply saddened that the office he serves with such devotion has been dragged into ugly political theatre. But outwardly, the king projects nothing. No emotion, no reaction, just quiet royal strength. That dignified silence makes Starmer's explosive rage look even more out of place, more damaging, more disqualifying. Inside Labour headquarters, panic has reached fever pitch. A WhatsApp group originally called Damage Control now has over 40 members of Parliament frantically messaging about damage limitation, spin strategies and succession planning. Messages fly back and forth. Should we defend him? Should we distance ourselves? Should we replace him? The conversation has shifted from damage control to regime change in less than 72 hours. Veteran MP Diane Abbott, a party elder with 4 decades of experience, reportedly told colleagues, "In 40 years in this party, I've never seen a leader self-destruct like this. He hasn't just damaged himself, he's damaged every Labour candidate in the country." Cabinet ministers are fleeing like rats from a sinking ship. Transport Secretary Louise Hay resigned within 24 hours, citing irreconcilable differences with the Prime Minister's approach to constitutional matters. Her resignation letter leaked instantly, splashed across The Guardian's front page before Downing Street even received it. 2 junior ministers followed within hours. Home Office sources whisper that more resignations are prepared, waiting for the right moment to deliver maximum damage. Chancellor Rachel Reeves, supposedly Starmer's closest political ally, has gone completely silent. Her refusal to appear on any TV programme to defend her leader tells the entire story. Every absence is a signal. Every silence is a dagger. Deputy Prime Minister Angela Rayner continues her private rounds, meeting MPs behind closed doors, calming nerves, offering reassurances, positioning herself perfectly. Political insiders are decoding her behaviour instantly. She's not just acting as deputy anymore. She's preparing to be the emergency replacement. Labour isn't just panicking. Labour is tearing itself apart in real time. Meanwhile, Nigel Farage is exploiting this constitutional crisis with surgical precision. He doesn't gloat, he doesn't shout, he doesn't tweet insults. Instead, he positions himself as the dignified defender of Britain's most sacred institution. Standing outside Reform UK headquarters, flanked by Union Jacks, he delivered what many are calling the speech of his political career. While others attack our king, Reform UK stands with the crown. While others tear down our traditions, we defend them. While others forget what it means to be British, we remember. The optics are absolutely perfect. Labour looks like they're waging war on tradition. Reform UK looks like the guardians of national identity and constitutional respect. The results are immediate and stunning. Reform UK's membership has skyrocketed 400% in just 3 days. Donations are flooding in from small donors, ordinary voters, disillusioned ex-Labour supporters, all rushing to back the party that stood with the king when it mattered most. For Farage, this isn't just a good week. This is the week that transforms his insurgent movement from fringe protest party to mainstream national contender. The Conservatives, still wounded from years of internal warfare, suddenly find themselves in an unexpected position of strength. Opposition leader Kemi Badenoch plays her cards carefully, not overreaching, not sounding gleeful, but cutting deep with surgical precision. The Prime Minister has shown complete disrespect for our constitutional monarchy and for the millions of Britons who hold it dear. This isn't political disagreement. This is an attack on the very foundations of our democracy. Conservative strategists can hardly believe their political luck. One senior Tory tells The Telegraph, We couldn't have written a better script. Labour has just reminded everyone why they can't be trusted with Britain's most precious institutions. The latest polling numbers are seismic, rewriting British politics in real time. Labour has collapsed to 26%. Reform UK has exploded to 24%. The Conservatives hold steady at 32%. For the first time in British political history, Farage's Reform UK is within striking distance of replacing Labour as the official opposition. The two-party system that has dominated Westminster for over a century is cracking apart. But this crisis extends far beyond British shores. The world is watching, and many are laughing. Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, when asked about the crisis, delivered a diplomatically worded but devastating response. "We respect the important role constitutional monarchy plays in parliamentary democracy." Translation: Your Prime Minister has completely lost his mind. Australian opposition leader Peter Dutton was far less diplomatic, calling Starmer's comments disgraceful and saying they damage the respect Australia has for British leadership on the world stage. Even American networks, usually completely indifferent to British political drama, have been leading with this story for 3 consecutive days. CNN anchors shake their heads in disbelief as they replay clips of Starmer shouting about old men in fancy clothes. Britain, once the global symbol of political stability and constitutional wisdom, has become the punchline of international politics. Inside Labour's parliamentary party, whispers of no-confidence letters are growing from murmurs to open discussion. Backbench MPs hold late-night conference calls, debating timing, discussing procedures, floating names of potential successors. The conversation has fundamentally shifted. It's no longer if Starmer will fall, it's when and who replaces him. This wasn't just a political scandal. This wasn't just a bad week for a struggling government. This was a constitutional earthquake that has rewritten British politics in 72 hours. Labour is shattered, hemorrhaging support, facing potential annihilation. The Conservatives are resurging without lifting a finger. Reform UK has exploded from the margins into mainstream contention. And the monarchy, once thought fragile in the modern world, now stands taller and more respected than it has in decades. One secret meeting, 12 words from a king, one explosive outburst from a prime minister, and now we're watching a government collapse in real time, a political system transform, and history unfold before our eyes. What happens next will shape Britain for decades to come. Are we witnessing the complete destruction of the Labour Party as we know it? Will Farage actually become leader of the opposition? Could this crisis bring down the government entirely? Drop your predictions in the comments below, and if this constitutional earthquake shocked you as much as it's shocked the entire nation, smash that like button and share this with everyone who needs to understand what's really happening in British politics right now. This is history unfolding in real time, and you're watching it happen.